Hello, welcome to TTNT, Topics That Need Talking. I'm your host, Jess. Today's episode is going to be about finding jobs and careers and why it's unnecessarily hard. But jobs and careers, even when you start out at the legal age of wherever you are listening to this, for Virginia it is 16, it can be extremely difficult because you are brand new to the workforce. You barely have any to no experience of how to perform certain tasks, even if it's administrative work, to just file papers and work in email or stuff of that matter. It can be difficult because no one wants to take a chance with a new person, or a lot of companies don't have training programs, let alone the time to train someone new on how to go with the flow. They would prefer someone with similar experience that can just adapt to what they already have going. And that sucks. That really does. After you get your first job and you've gained some experience, of course, more people are willing to give you that shot of, okay, well, you came from this company, now come over to ours and see if you can adapt and ask questions when needed. With careers, it's hard, especially after graduating. If you're not one of the very lucky few that have a job already lined up after they graduate, it can be hard, it can suck, and it can be detrimental to your mental health. Like I stated in the very first episode of TTNT about post-grad depression, I did not have a job lined up for me afterwards. I was jobless all of May and June. I didn't get a job until July, and that was Domino's. It was hard because whenever I was applying for jobs, I was overqualified for a lot of things because, one, I had a Bachelor of Arts, and they didn't want to pay me more to what they knew I could do with the company. So they just wouldn't hire me at all, or be very upfront with me saying, you are overqualified for this position. And I thank them for being straight up with me. And then whenever I try to go for careers, I didn't have experience. In their eyes, I'm assuming I didn't have the experience that they were seeking. Not all places accept what you do while you're in college, legitimate experience, which I understand, but then I also see it as, well, that's not fair. Not many people are willing to hire an 18-year-old to get the experience needed to be what they want to do or what they are studying to do. And then when you do graduate, it's like, okay, I'm ready. And they're like, you don't have enough experience. So we are more than welcome to take you on as an intern or a volunteer, which, giving my time up for free without any benefits or pay, sorry, bills won't take that. They won't just accept the kindness of a company giving me the shot. I'm not saying shadowing, volunteering, or interning are completely useless, because they do give valuable experience that you will need in that workforce that you are trying to get into. But not all of what you do within that intern, shadowing, or volunteering can pay bills, especially if it's an unpaid, a shadowing, intern, volunteering position that you have. You got to pay bills, you have to live, you have to eat. And if for those that just don't want to move back to their parents, you got to pay rent. You got to have money, which is why it's just so hard, because not all companies want to give you the shot. They say, oh, we need 5+ experience. When I was reading those on applications for entry-level positions, I looked and I went, I'm sorry, 5 years experience would mean that they would have to hire me as a senior in high school, and no one's going to do that for me. Well, why didn't you try to do it outside of your classes? I wanted to focus on my classes and my schoolwork and have little to distract me while I was just working to get my bachelor's. So I would just work on my projects. I would work on my assignments, and I made it 4 years, Bachelor of Arts done. But little to any experience that most companies would take seriously. My school had a radio station, and I did that all 4 years of my time at college. I had my own show. I trained people to get their own show and work the audio equipment to operate properly on air. I was on the board for 3 years. I was the president for 1 year. But not all people will take that seriously. Some places would ask, well, have you tried applying to other companies that would give you that shot? No, not many companies would give you that shot, because at the same time, most radio hosts don't leave for a very long time for all the right reasons. You made it. You have your own show, you have your own audience and listeners that look forward to hearing you and what you have to say. You're not giving that up immediately. You're going to stay there for many years. So, of course, it doesn't bother many people to start at the bottom and just work their way up. But it can be long, it can be grueling, and sometimes even getting to the bottom is ridiculously hard. But it shouldn't deter people. No matter how many times you get the emails of this position has already been filled, or just no email at all, it shouldn't deter you. I always say, at least get a job to pay what you have to pay, but keep working to get to where you want to be. Nothing will stop you. Nothing will stop you for doing what you want to do as long as you just keep going. And yes, I do understand that it can be very difficult to keep that determination to keep going with what you're doing. It's just unnecessarily hard to get the experience that you need to do what you want to do. For a lot of entry-level positions, they want so many years behind it that when you really look at it and you think back to what you were doing at that time, it's like, well, no one was going to give me that shot. I wasn't going to get it. Even if I were to volunteer or intern or shadow someone, how was I supposed to do that? I was only, like, if I say 3 years ago, I was only 20. Granted, I could have possibly, but I still made the absolute decision to focus on my classwork. And I do not regret that decision because it still paid off in the end. Am I struggling now? Yes. Do I know many others who are struggling? Yes. But then I also feel like people don't talk about how when you do get to where you've been fighting for, are you going to be happy when you're there? Some people end up finding out the hard way to learn that what they've been striving to do is not what they wanted to do at all. It could have just been, you could have had a vision and an idea of what you wanted to do, but when you actually got there, it was nothing like what you dreamed of, despite all the experience that you've gained, all the opportunities that you took and succeeded. It still wasn't what you wanted to do, but you've already made it. What do you do now? This is kind of all you know. I've had that fear. What if what I want to do is not what I'm meant to do, or will actually bring the happiness that I'm seeking from it? I got scared. I was trying to think of, well, what else do I like to do? Because we all do that, saying, what do I like to do that I would love to do for the rest of my life? And that you would still love doing the rest of your life. Because some things are just meant to be a hobby, not a career. And that is totally fine. You could be amazing at making quilts. Like you're an awesome crocheter, or you're really great at stitching up clothes, but it's only a hobby. You look at it and you go, if I were to do this every day, it wouldn't be as much fun as it is now. Which is fine. The job force isn't easy. It's not, and I always tell people it's not like back in the day to where if you did go to college, it was a guaranteed job. No, you go to college now because that's what you want to do. You want to further your education on that. But no job is guaranteed. No internship is guaranteed because you're going up against not just the people at your school, but the rest of your country and the rest of the world, depending on the company that you're going for. And even then, one of my professors, and I love him dearly, he taught me so much at my time at college. He always looked at me and said, you are never too important to be nice to someone. And I took those to heart. Because even when he was looking for jobs after he graduated with his master's, he was not nice to only those that were hiring him, but also to the administrative assistant that was outside the office, to the man or woman sweeping the floors because they were janitorial. He was always nice to them. And he would treat them with the utmost respect because they are doing something someone else cannot do or would not do. But he would always give them respect because it is their job, but they're making the most of it. I looked at him and I went, that is an amazing piece of advice, and I thank you for sharing that with me. And he looked at me and said, I always try to teach people that you are never too important to be nice to someone. And then he looked at me and said, and people will remember that you were super kind to them. And they look and go, well, they're not a bad person. Even if I'm a janitor or in the janitorial staff, they weren't completely rude due to what I do. And we all judge people a little too quick for what they do. I look at people and I say, do not think you are above fast food. Do not think you are above retail. A job is a job that helps you pay bills if it's not where you want to be in this exact moment in time. It is a stepping stone and you will get past it. But just because you see someone working in either fast food or retail does not mean you get to be horrible to them. They are still human. They still have feelings. They are trying to do their job. There's no need to yell at people. There's no need to catch an attitude with people for just enforcing the policies that were set before they even got the job. Before they were even considering taking a job at that type of employer. They are just trying to do what they were told. There's no reason to look down on someone for serving up McDonald's to you. They are still human. You treat them with respect because they're doing their job and they're trying to just be the best they can to either move up in the company or to move on with what they want to do next. But with finding jobs and careers, it can be extremely difficult because there could be very little opportunities around you, or what's around you doesn't apply for you. So there could be many jobs available, but none of it applies to you, to what you are passionate about, to what you are capable of. And that can just hurt you. It can destroy your view on whether this is the right path for you, saying, well, I really like doing this, but there's little to nothing that I can do in my community with my set of skills. Maybe I should look elsewhere and do something else, but it wouldn't bring me much joy. It shouldn't be so difficult to pursue a career in what you love to do and want to do for the rest of your life. Let's say, for instance, for those that do watch YouTubers like vloggers or travel vloggers or DIY people, we think that that is extravagant. We look at them and go, wow, they set their own schedule, they are their own boss, and they must be making a decent amount of money because they live on their own, they pay their bills, so they have to be doing something right. But we never stop to think, well, what did they do to get here? What were the sacrifices that they had to make to get here? What are the sacrifices that they are taking now as they are doing what they do? There's no harm in looking at someone and just asking them, saying, what were the challenges you faced before you got here today? Because it can give us perspective on how we look at each other and how we look at jobs and how we look at ourselves in order to get to where they are or where we want to be next to them. There's no shame in asking for help with jobs, especially amongst your friends and family and colleagues. If you trust them, there's no harm in looking around saying this isn't meant for me, and to just leave, because taking care of yourself is so important. There's no reason why you shouldn't be taking care of yourself, because at the end of the day, you only got yourself when you go to bed, and that's okay, because you should love yourself and keep trying to make yourself stronger and smarter and better. But hopefully one day jobs will definitely become a lot easier for all of us, the generations ahead of us and the generations behind us. Who knows? Only we can make that decision to make it easier and better for all of those around us. The only tough part is just getting your foot out the door and taking that first step. And that's finding jobs and careers and why it's unnecessarily hard. You've been listening to TTNT, Topics That Need Talking with Jess. Tune in for the week after next episode for coping mechanisms and what to do when they're not working. I will be on vacation next week, so I won't be able to record that episode. But as soon as I get back, I will get right to it and share my thoughts on the topic that needs talking. If you want to reach out to me, I have a Twitter if you want to create a discussion over there and just speak to me and see my thoughts on any other topic that either you think needs talking or just want to talk to me about what was discussed in this episode. You can comment below and I'll see and respond to it, or I'll like your comment to at least indicate that I read it. My Twitter handle is in the description below. Have a good day, you guys. Be happy and stay safe.